Mythology Omnibus Part 2, starting with main characters. In the northeastern portion of Greece stands Mount Olympus, home to 12 greatest gods of Greek mythology, who are called the Olympians. The most powerful is Zeus, the lord of the sky. His brother Poseidon rules the sea, and another brother, Hades, the underworld. Zeus's wife, Hera, is a protector of marriage. Many myths revolve around Zeus's love affairs and Hera's jealousy. Zeus's children included Athena, Apollo, Aphrodite, and Ares. Each have a particular area of rule. Other divinities live on the earth, such as Dionysus, god of wine, Demeter, goddess of wheat. There are 9 muses associated with artistic creativity. The 3 fates who determine people's destinies, Furies, sirens, and other beings, some of whom were neither quite human nor divine. Some human characteristics, like Achilles and Aeneas, have both a divine and a mortal parent. Greek mythology is filled with the journeys and the battles of heroes. Such were heroes like Jason, Odysseus, and Hercules. Some myths, like Pyramus and Thisbe, focus on love and death among the more ordinary people. The divinities interact in the world of humans, often resulting in conflicts. Whenever humans challenge, romantically attract, or somehow please a god. With so many divine and human characters to remember, begin with the more prominent figures, like Zeus and Hercules. Mythology is not only a great book to read, but it's a resource to use over and over again. Summary and setting. One of the main sources for classical mythology was the Metamorphoses by a Roman writer, Ovid. Hamilton says of him, he told almost all the stories, and he told them at great length. Although Hamilton disapproved of Ovid's viewpoint, which she saw as disrespectful towards the myths, she follows his method in her extensive retelling of stories. I put a question mark by that and looked some stuff up when I was annotating. In her introduction, Hamilton describes the key concepts of Greek mythology and discusses the main Greek and Roman sources for the stories. The first major portion of the book describes the pantheon of gods and goddesses, the creation of the world and of mankind, and the earliest heroes. More stories of heroes and their adventures, along with stories of lovers, are then told. This is all Edith Hamilton's book. The Trojan War was a major subject for plays, poems, and epics, but the ancient writers assumed that the audiences knew the whole story of that war. Hamilton provides a complete account of the war and includes summaries of Homer's Iliad and Odyssey and Virgil's Aeneid. The surviving dramas are summarized in a retelling of the stories of great families, such as the House of Atreus, which includes Agamemnon and the royal house of Thebes, whose descendants include Antigone. I'm flipping the page. In the later part of the book, the shorter myths are told. A brief section near the end of the book covers the key characteristics, or the key characters and beliefs found in Norse mythology. Genealogical charts at the end of the book increase its usefulness as a reference work to keep handy, while reading the original mythological stories. World view. One of the great byproducts of sitting in a classroom listening to a teacher is daydreaming. We know that you always pay attention in class and never daydream, but some of the other students around you, they daydream quite often. This is one of the few times you will be encouraged to daydream in class. Imagine being stranded on an island instead of being in the classroom. The idea of being on a deserted island is popular in books and in movies. Remember those Robinson Crusoe and Swiss Family Robinson? Or have you watched the movie Castaway? Or did you read the book Lord of the Flies? Oh, here's another, Gilligan's Island. We will allow our imagery island to be a tropical setting with lots of fruit and berries growing all around, and with fish easily caught along the shore. Sorry, but pizza delivery cannot be part of this imagining. We can allow some vital necessities to wash up on the shore after the shipwreck. So you can have some tools, clothes, and a toothbrush, and an iPod, and lots of sunscreen lotion. For the next few years, you have nothing to do but enjoy fun in the sun, sand, and surf. Let's also assume you will be rescued in a few years. Here's a problem. After your rescue, you will have to complete the high school courses that you missed. To prevent that, let's have a box of books wash up on the shore. They would have to securely be sealed and wrapped, since salt water definitely ruins books. All right, let's imagine that among those books is one titled 300 Recipes for Bananas and Fish, along with another titled The Dummy's Guide to Surviving on a Desert Island. The two chief books, however, are the Bible and Mythology by Edith Hamilton. On that small shelf made from a loose board that washed up, you have the foundations for the literature of Western civilization. With two books, you can understand the two worldviews that have been clashing for thousands of years. With two books, you can gain an understanding of literary references, allusions, phrases, and ideas. With two books, every genre of literature, all the recurring plot structures, and an inexhaustible supply of character studies are now available. With two books, you have answers to the key questions regarding how the world got here, why we are here, and why things happen the way they do. Also, these two books address the great mystery of death and afterlife. Thankfully, both books are delightfully written and filled with adventure, war, romance, and comedy. If you look around the room where you are now, it might not resemble an imaginary island. While we likely lack the deep blue ocean waters lapping against the sandy beach with gulls flying overhead and palm trees swaying in a gentle breeze, we still have the Bible and Edith Hamilton's Mythology to read and think about. Much of the world's oldest and greatest literature dates back to the Greeks. While much has been lost, we still have an extensive writings of Plato, Aristotle, and others. Some poems and fragments of poems have survived, and out of the hundreds of plays that were performed, quite a few tragedies and comedies have been preserved. Amazingly, we have complete editions of Homer's epics, the Iliad and the Odyssey. All in all, a very rich assortment of Greek literary works have survived. Long before surviving manuscripts were first opened, the Greeks had an ever-growing body of mythological stories and characters. Apparently, Greeks already knew these stories. These myths were like a central casting agency.